This morning we had some fun learning how the human brain learns, and we had some fun trying it out with each other. And I hope that you've been taking some of the things that we've been learning today and trying out some of those learning practices. In this session, we're going to talk about special needs and why all kids learn better if they learn how special needs kids learn. I don't want you to think that special needs kids can't learn. They can. I don't want you to think that anyone, any human being who is alive and breathing, at whatever age that is, everyone can learn. Everyone can grow new neurons. No one is ever too late for that. So even someone who is blessed with the perfect garden, nothing ever goes wrong in their life, they also could learn better if they just learn how special needs kids learn. I think the thing that makes me feel most in common with how a special needs person must feel all the time is learning to read. Reading is, wow, it's like physical therapy. I know, because I've done physical therapy, and it's intense. It's exhausting. You could do the most tiny little thing, the stupidest thing, and you're so tired. Learning to read is like that because you're having to grow new neurons. The reason someone has special needs is because they have an area of damage in their body. Often it is an area of brain damage, and you're not necessarily going to see it on an MRI. You might. We took our son when he was having some really concerning issues going on, like he couldn't chew and he couldn't sit up, and he had no tone in his eyes or his body, and then he would cry because on the other side the bottom of his legs would get really tight, so he couldn't sit up, he couldn't crawl, he couldn't even giggle correctly. It was just a weird sound. We're like, what's going on? So we took him and we got an MRI, and sure enough, there was an area on the MRI where his brain, and this was at around 12 months old, his brain was completely black. It was an area of brain damage. The doctor explained to us that he had probably experienced a lack of oxygen sometime during birth. It had been a bit of a traumatic birth. And also he had been anemic, and so he wasn't, without a sufficient iron supply, he wasn't retaining oxygen in his blood, he wasn't carrying enough oxygen, and so his brain had a significant area of brain damage. Now, I think you could look at any child who has issues and know that they have something wrong without having to go and figure out where it is in the brain. If you'd like to know more about that, I'm going to put a link in the handout to a previous video I did and to a book that I love that will help you determine exactly where the area of brain damage is. That's not what we're going to talk about today in depth. Instead, I want to talk about how to fix it no matter where the area is. And yeah, some of the techniques will differ, and I do encourage you to check out that book if your child or someone that you know and love has an area of special needs. Don't leave them that way. Go and see how much you can fix, see how much you can improve, okay? But the doctor explained to us that what we needed to do was increase the oxygen so that we could help his brain grow new neurons. And we were blessed to have some friends who had much experience in this area. They hooked us up with a lot of resources and information and knowledge, and I'm so thankful for that because we were able to help our son grow new neurons. And now he's 13, almost 14 years old, and you would not know, generally speaking, that he has anything wrong at all. So obviously you're able to grow new neurons. Now, the level of injury, the level of problem, as we talked in the last session, means you might have to endure more for one person than another. And some, we may not be able to fix the issue completely. But if you'd like to help your child that has special needs, I've got 8 areas in which I want you to try to focus, okay? So let's try to go through these pretty quickly. Oh my goodness, I didn't record a single bit of that. So now that I'm here on camera, I'd like to keep going. So number 1, frequency matters, okay? If you want to help your children learn a new skill, whether it is learn to read, learn to crawl, learn to anything, you need to work on that problem area frequently, okay? You can't grow new neurons by just doing something at a haphazard thing. A new neuron has to have a lot of impulses, electrical impulses going to that area on a regular and frequent basis to encourage new growth, okay? So it's not really how hard you push, but it's more how often. I think of Psalm 1 where it says, his delight is in the Torah of Yehovah, and on his Torah he meditates how often? Day and night. The consistency of how frequently you do something is what matters. If you really want to get firm into the Word of God, you've got to be meditating on it day and night, frequently, consistently, over and over again. If you want your child to learn to read, you're going to have to learn to do phonics with your child consistently, not just once in a while, not just 3 days a week, but morning and evening, every day. I'm going to say not on Sabbath, because I do believe that we should rest. But 1 to 2 times a day, consistently, without fail. Whatever it is, the area that you're working on with your child. Now, would that apply to any other child? If a special needs child will learn to read better, you know, if you're doing phonics with him 1 to 2 times a day, consistently, over and over again, wouldn't that be true of any other child as well? Yes, it would. So when your 5-year-old wants to learn to read, think to yourself, is this a good time for me in my schedule? Do I need to rearrange my schedule so that I can consistently sit with my child for just a few minutes? It's not how hard you push, but how often. Not how hard. It doesn't have to be half an hour. It could just be 5 or 10 minutes. Just short lessons, short, easy lessons, as Charlotte Mason says, but consistent. Think, I'm going to rearrange my schedule, and we're going to sit and we're going to go over these flashcards, and they're going to learn their sounds, and they're going to practice sounding out this word, and then we're going to read a story together. And then we're going to come back to it this evening, and real quick before we read another story, I'm going to go over their flashcards, make sure they know their sounds. We're going to practice sounding out a couple words, and by the way, probably need to have some writing in there too. Okay, but maybe they're too tired by the time we've done that little bit, so maybe right after this subject later in the morning, we're going to take just a little bit to write out a couple words and sounding out those things. So in our Word Power curriculum, we have an opportunity for you to read, an opportunity to do flashcards, opportunities for review and writing, and opportunities to have that reader that's separate from the Word Power book that they can come back to later in the day. You can go across, you can go down. There's lots of things you can do, but it needs to be frequent. Okay? It's not how hard you push, it's how often. Number 2, move slowly. So for a child that has never learned to crawl, and we have to go back because there's an area of brain injury, we have to slowly start to move those muscles. For me, after my concussion, I couldn't turn in a circle very fast. So I thought that means I just need to turn more circles. No, I'm just going to throw up if I do that. No, what it means is I would slowly learn to turn, slowly. Okay, and there were all kinds of exercises that she had me doing. One had dots, and I had to stare at the dot, and I had to slowly, much slower than what I'm doing. I guess I'm talking really fast on this video. Slowly turn my head. All right, slowly. Why do we do it slowly? Well, we do it slowly to give our body a chance to kind of make a pathway that you've gone through it in slow motion so that you know how to go through it again. Going through it quickly, your brain might not be able to catch it. So if you're learning to read, let's sound out the word slowly. If your child if you think reading means that everything is going to come quick out of his mouth, that's not how it works. You have to slowly learn the sound of the letters. Slowly learn to sound out all 3 letters that are in a syllable. Slowly, over time, learn to put 2 or 3 syllables together and slowly sound them out. Usually with my kids, I say, okay, read it slow, now read it fast. So for instance, if they're sounding out the word short, okay, we're going to go sh, or t. Okay, those are the 3 phonograms in it. Sh, or t. Now say it fast. Short. Okay? So doing it slowly and then come back and say it fast if you want. That helps them learn it. Same thing with math. Let's really think. What is 3 plus 4? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay? What is that? 3 plus 4 is 7. 3 plus 4 is 7. Okay, but slowly figure it out. Okay? I mean, it's just that principle. Don't expect that you have to do everything fast. Number 3, combine physical and mental movements. So I think it is so fascinating, but a child that is chanting their arithmetic facts as they jump upstairs is going to learn them better than a child that's just sitting in a chair. I don't know why, but that's the way the Father made our bodies to work. So which is why in our arithmetic lessons, we have in the teacher guides, math drills. Don't skip them. Don't just go straight to the worksheets. Do the math drills, do the games. You know, your child playing a game where they have to go around the table from chair to chair to chair around the table every time they get a math fact right is going to learn the math facts better than just doing them on a worksheet. I love the one where you go on the steps and you say 6 plus 4 and they say 10. And they hop up a step. And then you say plus 3 and they say 13 and they hop up a step. And minus 5 and they go 8 and they go hop up a step. And you just keep going those math facts up and down the stairs. That's really fun. Or going out on the sidewalk and making a massive A. And the whole time you're going so that the child is learning. This is with sidewalk chalk or something out on the sidewalk. And you're making this huge A and going because that's what you should do when you say an A. So combining physical and mental movements is a really smart thing to do. I love making like a balance beam in the backyard that's maybe only 1 or 2 inches off the ground. You can get just that old piece of lumber or something to do that. And as the child balances and walks across that, they're reciting their spelling words. Or they're on the swing and they're swinging and you say, okay, spell Mississippi. M-I-S-S-I-S-S-I. Anyway, it wouldn't be quite that fast. So combining those physical movements, and it thus creates an opportunity for you to be creative. Some of those things are in the curriculum to help you out, but if you get the gist of what we're doing and why we're doing it, you can take that and go a lot further with it. Number 4, be consistent. This kind of goes back into the frequency. But the area where the problem lies in your life is where you actually need to do the therapy. So if your child can't spell very well, you need to do more spelling. They're not going to want to do more spelling. It's going to be hard, which we go back to our previous session where we talked about endurance. Teach your child to endure, to be happy, to be thankful, to be singing, and try to make it fun. That's your job as a mom, but be consistent. Mom, get those alarms on your phone that go off that say, it's time to do phonics with your child, time to go sit and read a book. And you're like, man, this is not a good time. I didn't really want to get up and do it right now. I have things I got to do. Sourdough needs to be done. So no, you have to be self-disciplined. Be consistent. Do the school every day, day after day after day. Be consistent. Get it done, and it will make a huge difference in how quickly your child learns. Number 5. Help your child stay motivated with positive encouragement. I don't really like to say things like positive words. It sounds a little new agey to me. I like to say, let's be encouraging. Let's build each other up. That's a biblical way of saying it. Let's edify and encourage. Your child is going to want to quit when it is hard. And anything with special needs is going to be hard. But by the way, this applies to everyone who's learning something new. Are you learning Hebrew? How far have you gotten? Talking to myself here. It's hard. We want to quit. So it really helps to have someone come along with some positive encouragement to say, wow, good job. I'm so happy you did that. Great job. You going to do it again tomorrow? And we have a guy in our congregation who's incredibly encouraging. He's always encouraging everyone, saying, wow, this is the best congregation. You young kids, you're just a shining example for Yeshua. And of course, they all want to be more shining examples, because that's what we do when we are being encouraged and someone is saying, I'm so happy with the way you're living. You make me happy watching you. And we're like, really? Okay, I better keep doing that. So encourage your children. It says in Proverbs, pleasant words promote instruction. And that's the facts. If you want your child to learn anything, special needs or regular children, pleasant words are going to promote that instruction. It also says, that was the NIV. If you were to take that over to the New King James, it says the sweetness of the lips. Either way, make your lips sweet and encouraging, pleasant, and your children will learn. Proverbs 31 even says that the Torah of kindness is on the Proverbs 31 woman's lips. Her tongue is full of kindness when she instructs her children. Those kinds of words, when you instruct your child how to read, do it in a kind and pleasant way, and you will go so much further than a grumpy mom. Number 6, do your therapy earlier in the day before you get too tired. So I'm thinking of subjects that are difficult for children with learning problems. We're usually talking math and phonics and reading and writing, handwriting and so on. Do those subjects early enough in the day that your child is not too tired. And this is where this is where you lead the schedule. You think with wisdom and understanding and knowledge you know what? I think math should happen right after breakfast because we've just had a good meal and it's early enough in the day. Our brains are not too tired. I think this would be a great time to do some math. Maybe you're going to put Bible first and then do math, but try to get them early before you're fatigued. And if your children are fatigued, get them some rest before you come back to therapy. Number 7, realize that it takes time to grow those new neurons. I talked to you a little earlier about my son and the area of his brain that didn't grow, didn't have the neurons grown there. So it's a black area on the MRI. That was at age 12 months. By age 3, he had tested out of every program and he was doing great on. He still had some issues by age 13. I can definitely see that a huge progress has been made, but I could see that by age 3, but that's 2 years. So if you're just starting out as a homeschooler, do not expect that your child will grow quickly, get those neurons growing quickly. If a child has an area of special needs, it's going to be even more difficult. It's not just the normal growth. It's you're asking the body to go above and beyond what it wants to do in a normal day. So be patient. Allow this to take time. Be realistic with your expectations so you're not discouraged if it doesn't happen in like 3 days. Okay? Lastly, number 8, good food, good sleep. Refer to the session we did earlier, but good food and good sleep are absolutely essential to growing good neurons. So you need to feed your child with good food if you want your child to learn and grow. You need to make sure that your child gets a nap and good sleep at night, and younger ones a nap, like to age 5 or 6. Maybe different for a child with special needs, maybe a little older. But good sleep at night. Make sure your child gets to bed at night. Make sure your child gets up in the morning. This is the responsibility of a mother and a father to do this. But the reason you're doing it is because you want to help foster an environment where your child's growing new neurons. And if this is good for a child with special needs, it's good for all children, right?